Welcome to the Sarah Scoop Show. It's time to get the scoop with Sarah.
My name is Joy Osmanski. I am an actor, among other things in my life, and I'm currently appearing in two shows, Duncanville on Fox and Stargirl on CW and DCU. So Stargirl centers around Brec Bassinger's character, Courtney, who is, by all accounts, seems like an ordinary teenager. But she just, beginning of the show, she has a big transition. She moves to a new town. Her mom's just gotten remarried or married maybe for the first time. She has a new stepbrother, a new stepdad, a new dog, and they're making this big transition. So her life is kind of turned upside down. And it's hard enough to be a teenager, but then you have to go to a new place and do that. And she finds herself in Blue Valley. And a lot of things start to happen very quickly, one of which is she discovers this cosmic staff that her stepdad, Pat, has been storing in the basement. And she discovers his identity, and she puts together this amazing new team of young people, of superheroes. It's kind of, what I love about it is they're kind of a ragtag bunch at first, and then they all start to put on their gear and start to own the characters more. And she quickly discovers that there is a evil plot afoot in Blue Valley, which I am part of, my character. And of course, it becomes a wonderful struggle between good and evil. But what I've really enjoyed about the show is that there's nuance, and like the good guys aren't just immediately amazing at what they do. They struggle, and they have to learn how to become really good guys. And meanwhile, the villains are we're seasoned expert, we're veterans. We're just dying to get out there and beat someone up. So it's a fun contrast to play with. And I think the show does a really nice job of mixing heart and humor and giving the villains a reason for what they do, which is nice to see, I think. So my character it's a dual character. Her public persona is Paula Brooks. She's a gym teacher at the Blue Valley High School, and she coaches cheerleading and basically anything physical, she's involved. And the flip side of her is Tigress, which is the supervillain side, part of the ISA. And she has a family. She has her daughter, Artemis. She's married to Croc, who is also sports master. And Artemis, I don't believe, has any knowledge of who we are. But she and Sportsmaster have been in the ISA for years now, and they've been just waiting for a chance to go. So what's fun about Paula is playing two sides of the same coin. And I love how they've written her, because her public face is very careful and preserved, and she really knows how to present herself in a way so as to avoid suspicion. I mean, she's intense, but you'd never think she's a supervillain. But then as soon as she's able to be her tigress self, all of that primitive id that lizard brain, that is right at the forefront. And it's a really fun thing to play as an actor. Actually, when I auditioned, I knew nothing about the character. The audition sides were written for the audition, which is often the case when there's a new show. Everything is very top secret. The character name was not Paula. I think it was Allie Miller. So there were no clues. I didn't know it was a dual character. I didn't really know what the project was. I was in rehearsals for a play at the time, so my brain was somewhere else, and I almost didn't audition. I was like, I can't think about anything else. But then I read the sides, and they were so funny, and I was like, well, this will be fun. So for me, though, the audition was almost completely in the dark. I didn't know. I just knew the writing was good, and I liked it. And after I did the audition tape, I submitted it and kind of forgot about it, which is, in retrospect, that's the way you want every audition to go, is you just do it, you enjoy it, and then you let it go. But in this case, I just simply had no more room in my brain. So it wasn't until afterwards, when I got the role, that I was told what it was. And I was surprised. I was really surprised. I think every actor is looking for the chance to do that because it, you're allowed to do things that you're never allowed to do. You know what I mean? When you play a villain, you have permission to behave in a way that is socially unacceptable. So I think we all have parts of ourselves that might fantasize from time to time about doing things that are outside of the bounds of society. And I think playing a supervillain gives you a chance to experience that in a completely safe, prescribed way. And for me, that was the case. I've never done anything like this. This is completely new to me. So to get to do a role where she's not particularly nice in her public life, but then in her private life, her secret life, she's brutal. But again, Jeff Johns, the creator, did a really nice job of motivating my character and my friend Neil, who plays Sportsmaster, his character with a really grounded foundation, and that was love for their family, love for each other, love for their daughter, and a deep care and concern for the future. So their methods are not what I would recommend or ever do, but there's a reason. It's not just sadism, even though they love doing what they do. It's more than that, and that really helped me tap into a more interesting motivation for why they behave the way they do. I think I will. Well, there's a few things, but I think when we shot that massive fight scene in episode 6, I think it was called the JSA. That episode, I think that scene took about 2 weeks or more to shoot, and it ended up being about 5 minutes long. I think that was such intense stunt work, and I had never done anything like that before. And so it's not really a moment, it's really a span of time. But I had never seen the business of acting, of what we do, all the technical aspects. I had never seen it up close like that. And so to see how many people were involved, the lengths that we all had to go to make that reality. You know, we were shooting that night scene out in the parking lot. I think that was around 3 or 4 in the morning. So being an actor is super fun, but a lot of us will say that we get paid to wait because we're just sitting in our trailers oftentimes for hours waiting, and then all of a sudden you're told, okay, you're on, and you have to be ready to go, and you're in this tigress uniform, and you suddenly have to look really tough and behave like you're totally physically ready to go, whereas you might have just been napping or doing a crossword puzzle. Or so for me, the demands of that character were new, and the process of seeing something that elaborate happen over that much time was really amazing and humbling. And I love how many people it takes to do something like that. It takes an enormous amount of effort on everyone's behalf. I don't know if I can talk too much about what my hopes and dreams are for Tigress and Paula for the future without revealing anything. So I don't know if I should say, but what I will say in general is that I'm excited to see how Cindy Shiv, how that character, you know, since she's on our team, I'm interested to see how the next generation of ISA starts to develop, because we've seen the JSA come together, but there has to be a counterpoint. So I'm excited to see what that will evolve into. The nicest experiences in terms of the rest of the cast. You know, when you're a guest star on a show, you often, you know, you descend in the city that you're working in, you come in to do your work, you try not to bother anyone too much, try to do your job, and then you go. But in this case, Jeff really, I think, took particular pains to assemble a cast that he felt was first, because everyone across the board is so kind and a good person and creative and talented. And so but I really have to stress the good person part, because I talked to him about it and I was like, how come everyone's so nice? And he was like, that's what I wanted. And it makes a huge difference. And in terms of Brec, you know, she's number 1 on the call sheet. It all starts there. It all trickles down from that number one on the call sheet. And she is tremendous. I mean, as you can see, she's extraordinarily talented. It's extremely dedicated. I mean, her work ethic is incredible. And she's an actor who has been in this business since she was young. And unlike a lot of other young actors, I think that it can corrupt in a way. She has just kept her focus very clear. She clearly has a really strong center, and that affects everything else. And then everyone else in the JSA, they're lovely human beings. Angelica and Cameron and Yvette, they're all just extremely lovely people. And then from the bad guy perspective, I adore every single one of the ISA members. We all just clicked immediately. And again, I think the chemistry of the people that were assembled was really considered. And that's not always the case. We were all away from home. We were working in Atlanta, 3,000 miles for me away from my family. And so to be able to have a lovely working experience with the cast members that you are spending extraordinarily long amounts of time with is a gift, because that isn't always the case. No, I was completely ignorant. And I think I'm fine with that because sometimes when you're a fan of something or you're already kind of steeped in the world of a show or a culture, and as an actor, if you get an audition for something like that, for a show, say that you're a huge fan of, it can be really intimidating actually, because you already have this expectation and this level of expectation for yourself, and it can get in the way. So I'm a firm believer in knowledge and education, but in some cases, ignorance is bliss, and it really helps you. And I'm so glad that I didn't know anything about Tigress. I didn't know anything about Paula. I didn't know anything about Stargirl, because I think the legacy of the project would have really spooked me. So I just went in completely blind. I knew I liked the character, and that was it. And really, that's all I can control anyway. Like the understanding, all the iterations of Tigress and all the history behind it, and Jeff's very personal connection to the story, like that's all wonderful and fantastic to know after you get the role. But before, that would have really freaked me out. I think my sense of responsibility would have overwhelmed perhaps my ability to just play the character and have fun with it. So I'm glad I didn't know. From the time that I was really small, I was a huge Wonder Woman fan. I think there were literally, I don't think, any representations of me. There were no Asian American characters on TV, but for whatever reason, Linda Carter, with her long dark hair and her ability to run fast, that resonated with me. So, and I love what Gal does with Wonder Woman now. I mean, she's incredible. So yeah, it's funny because I didn't really think about that until I started working on Stargirl. I didn't think about my history with superheroes, but yeah, Spider-Man and Wonder Woman were my absolute favorites, and I still enjoy them to this day. But there's so many different ways to experience the superhero world now. Like, there's so many amazing shows. So I feel like I'm just starting to dip my toe a little bit into that world of what's current. And everything is so different, so unique. And I know all the fan bases are really passionate. So my interaction, the little bit that I've had with the Stargirl fans, has been really cool. They're an awesome group of people, really creative. It's been fun. It's incredible. I think I had 8 or 9 fittings for my super suit. And before that, didn't even know what a super suit was. When, as I started to discover the aspects of playing this character, and they would say, okay, you have your first super suit fitting. And I was like, a what? A what? I mean, I mean, instantly I was like, I was picture like a pinstripe suit. I just didn't understand. I had no idea what they were talking about. And then when I showed up for the fitting and I met Laura Jean Shannon and her incredible team, and I saw the rendering that Marco had done of Tigress, and I was like, I mean, I will never forget that. I I literally was speechless. I had no words to express how I felt about what I saw. It was everything at once. It was intimidating, it was exhilarating, it was terrifying. I was excited. I mean, I just looked at her. I was like, okay, that's super intense and amazing, and I need to live up to that costume. And all the little details, you know, like all like the armbands and the eye and the dead eye, and I mean all these details. Every single one of those details requires a different person to figure that out. I was fitted for the contact lens, and I'd never had that before. And it takes two people to help me get into that super suit. I can't do it by myself. There's so many buckles and snaps and harness pieces, and it makes the flip side of Paula's outfit. You know, she just wears a ton of athleisure, which is so comfortable, which is I feel really grateful for. Uh, it's a nice contrast, because then when Tigress suits up, it's very military, you know. And when I start clicking all those pieces together and pulling on my gloves and my boots, and you know, Laura Jean does an amazing thing, which is create wardrobe that transforms you physically, of course, but as you're being, I'm sure that as Cam is being zipped into his Hourman suit, he's like, okay, here we go. You know what I mean? It's very powerful, the wardrobe. Emily Gunshore did all of Paula's wardrobe, and because what Paula wears is very much a uniform, you know, besides it looking very school oriented. I mean, the pieces that Emily put together for Paula are super specific. There's little details, like some of them might have like just a nod to Tigress. Like maybe there's some black and some yellow, you know, but all the thought that's put into wardrobe is usually just taken for granted because we're visual beings, and so we take in information from that stuff. We don't always put it together why certain choices are made. But let me assure you, everything that you see is super deliberate. It's so fun to see like little Easter eggs or just little things that you didn't notice before. Yeah. It's been amazing, and I worked on both shows concurrently as well. So I would be flying back and forth from LA to Atlanta. I would be coming to LA to do Duncanville, record Duncanville in LA, and then shoot back to Atlanta to do Stargirl. And the logistics of that were often really, really odd, and my internal clock was all over the place. I mean, I would get to Atlanta and maybe have a call time at midnight. It was very, very strange. My circadian rhythms were completely off. But it was all wonderful. I mean, I've never had so much fun being so jet lagged, because it was just all great. And to come back to LA and get to go to a table read and sit next to Amy Poehler and Ty Burrell Rashida, I'd just be like, Ricky Lindholm's here. She's brilliant. And I'm just like, this is my life. This is my life. What is happening right now? Duncanville was just, you know, like a regular audition, like every other project. And I just got lucky and got that job, and was so excited to work with all of those people. You know, veterans in the animation world. Mike Scully and Julie Thacker Scully are tried and true and unbelievably creative, kind, funny, generous people. And that was my experience with both shows, was generosity. Everyone involved is just really, really lovely. And I think that comes from having confidence. You know, I don't feel like there's anything to prove. Everyone's doing the incredible work they're doing because of integrity, not because they're trying to impress anybody. It's because that's what they do best. And I feel really grateful to be part of two shows that has that. It's a unique quality. Relatively new. I had done an animated series for Fox some years back called Alan Gregory. It was a show with Jonah Hill, and it was very, very funny. French Stewart, Nat Faxon, we had such a good time on that show. It was a completely different in tone than Duncanville. But that was my first experience, and once I had that experience, though, I was like, oh, this is the best. I mean, getting to voice a character and then seeing how the artists bring it to life is unlike anything else. And it was super fun to have this contrast of playing this 5-year-old character and then maybe literally the next day playing a supervillain. So my brain also was sometimes trying to just catch up with where I was and who I was. But surprisingly, both characters weren't hard to access. I'm not sure what that says about me, but apparently there is a large part of me that is 5 and maybe a large part of me that is a villain. I don't know. But both were and are so much fun to play, and we've just started doing working on season 2 of Duncanville. So that has been such a delight, is to return to seeing all those people. We do it all via Zoom, and then I go in and record all by myself, which is what we did anyway. But it's so nice to have that creative outlet again and to return to Jing because she's so much fun to play.
Thank you for watching The Sarah Scoop Show. Head to sarahscoop.com for more.